Chapter 12 Clover's POV. I locked the door with trembling hands. I need to get this filthy blood off me now. I ran to the shower and stripped my clothes before getting under the boiling hot water. I scrubbed my skin until it was sore to the touch. Dirty, dirty boy. My heart slowed down as I watched my skin turn red. I was clean. The cool air hit me as soon as I stepped out of the shower, stinging my skin and making me wince in pain. Dirty boy is clean now. I knew the girls would be finished by now. They were very efficient and performed their chores perfectly, like a proper woman should. Not like those whores out there. My flowers were perfect. I put some disposable gloves on and collected my dirty clothes in a bin bag and threw it out straight away, washing my hands thoroughly once I finished. My skin used to be so dry and cracked from washing so much, causing painful cuts all over my hands. But by the age of 10, my skin had adjusted to it. I went back downstairs. They were all sitting on the sofa together, reading books to enhance their intelligence. They didn't need to be watching television all the time or playing on the computer. That isn't how proper women should behave. Lily was still quiet, but that's just because she's adjusting to our routine. They all look very attractive in the new outfits I bought them. Rose smiled at me. She was a very beautiful woman. I saved her almost 3 years ago. Without a word, I picked her body up and carried it upstairs. Dead weight is quite heavy, but at least there is one less of them in the world. There will be more to replace her. If the police would do something about it, like me, then the world would be a better place. I put her body in the boot of my car. It was quite dark now, so I drove the 30 miles to the canal. I weighed her body down with bricks and threw it in the water. Within seconds, she sunk to the bottom, the water washing away any evidence of my work. As soon as I got home, I showered again, not scrubbing as hard this time, as I used gloves to handle the body bag, so I wasn't that dirty. After my shower, I got straight into bed. I was exhausted. Doing all this by myself was completely overwhelming sometimes. I woke up feeling refreshed, but a little sweaty, as it was hot last night, so I quickly stripped out of my bed, washed the sheets, and showered. I needed to go to the supermarket soon. I was running low on shower gel and sanitizer. The girls would probably need some things too, so I'll get Rose to make a list. Good morning, flowers, I said as I walked downstairs. They all smiled at me. Lily was shy as usual, but she seems to be getting more comfortable with me. I need to make more of an effort with her, but it's hard with the search for Heather and my two jobs. Good morning, Clover, they all said in unison, making me feel proud of them and myself for saving such wonderful women. How did you sleep, Lily? I asked, sitting down in my chair and gesturing for her to do the same with me. She looked nervous and slowly moved to the chair opposite me, sitting down and biting her lip. She'll be fine in a week or two, once she's more settled. Thank you, fine, she replied quietly. Looking at Rose and Poppy behind me, she's probably as hungry as me. I should really tell them to make breakfast 30 minutes earlier, but women need a certain amount of time in the morning to do their hair and makeup. We ate breakfast and I made an effort to talk to Lily. She answered all my questions. I was happy that she was starting to like me. Right, I'm going to work now. Have a great day, and I'll see you all for dinner. Goodbye, Clover. They all said as and started to clean away the dishes, as they have been taught. If you leave things lying around, it attracts germs and disease. I arrived at the office 40 minutes later. Good morning, Helen, I said politely as I walked through reception. How are you? I'm great, thanks, Colin. And you? I smiled through the use of the name my mother gave me. I'm very well, thank you. I walked to my office and switched on the computer. There were so many papers and client files in my tray already. At least I would be busy. At 10:30, I went to make some coffee. Passing David's office, Helen was in there and with him and standing too close to him, with her hand on his forearm. David was married with 3 children, and Helen had a fiance. What were they doing together? I moved behind the door and listened to their conversation. So, my fiance is working away this week, Helen said suggestively, flirting with a man. What a coincidence. My wife's visiting her sister with the kids, so I'll be all alone in that big house tonight. She giggled like a dirty slut. I'll be over at 7 to keep you company. I'll just pop home first to change into something more comfortable. I heard footsteps, so I quickly went to the bathroom that was opposite his office. I clenched my fist and stared at myself in the mirror. That filthy, dirty whore. It's women like her that are screwing up this world, but will anyone do anything else about it? No. Again, it's down to me. I took a deep breath. I knew what needed to be done, so I prized my fist apart and walked out of the bathroom. I'm just making a coffee. Do you want one, Helen? I asked, stopping in front of her desk. She smiled and rearranged her cleavage, making me feel sick. Thank you, Colin. That would be great. I haven't had one all morning. I've been so busy. I won't be long. I grabbed her mug off her desk and took it to the kitchen with me. Good morning, Julie. Mary. Hi, Colin. We were just talking about that missing girl, Summer. They still haven't found her. Julie said, sipping her tea. Who could do something about that? Mary shook her head. It's just awful. Her family must be going through hell. Lily is better off with me than out there where she'll be corrupted by these disgusting whores in the world. Her parents obviously weren't doing a good job raising her. She was walking alone in the park at night. And what about that boyfriend who claims to love her so much? Where was he when I rescued her? There are some sick people in this world, ladies. You two make sure you keep yourself safe. I said, picking up mine and Helen's coffee and quickly walking out. There you go. 2 sugars, just like you like it, I said to Helen, putting her coffee on the desk. Thank you, Colin, she said, smiling suggestively at David, who was walking past us. As soon as Julie and Mary from HR had gone on their lunch break, I snuck into their office and opened the employee filing cabinet, quickly flicking through Helen's file. I grabbed the paper with all her personal details and made a copy, putting the file back in the cabinet and shoving her paper in my pocket. Work passed quickly, and I drove home to prepare for tonight before I went down for dinner. I had everything I would need packed nearly in the boot of my car. Lily was on the news again. I smiled. They were still searching Woodland and knocking on doors. The police are useless. It's almost too easy. Good evening, Flowers. I said happily, sitting down at the table. Good evening. How was your day? Poppy asked as Rose and Lily brought the plates over to the table. Very good, although I have something to do tonight. After we've made love, don't worry, I'll always have time for you. Poppy smiled and poured me a drink. Poppy was an amazing woman, incredibly kind and caring. I was proud to have her as part of the family. I took Poppy into the double bedroom after dinner and we made love. I kissed her goodbye and we left their little house. It was time to deal with Helen before she left her house. I pulled up a long way from her house. Luckily, her house was detached and there was no neighbors. There was only one light on in her house. It was upstairs, probably her bedroom. I went to the back of the house and slipped my hand under the mat, looking for a key. I almost laughed when I found it. Unlocking the door, I quietly made my way inside. I was wearing black and had gloves on. A hairnet covered my hair so I wouldn't leave evidence behind. She was singing upstairs, so I made my way up as she wouldn't hear me. My heart rate accelerated with every step I took. I was starting to get excited. Doing this in her house was thrilling. She was standing in front of a long pine mirror, looking at herself in her underwear. Slutty black and red lace bra and a thong. It made her look like a prostitute. There was a picture of her and her fiancé on the dressing table beside where she was standing. She can't love him if she's willing to sleep with another man. She promised to marry him and be faithful, and as soon as he goes away, she jumps into bed with another man. My hands started to shake in anger. Dirty slut. Dirty, dirty. Slut ruining everything. I couldn't hold back anymore. I walked into the room. She saw my reflection in the mirror and spun around screaming. Colin, what are you doing here? She asked, looking terrified, and backing up against the wall. I smirked. You've been a dirty girl, and you need to learn a lesson. I slowly walked towards her, and she pressed herself against the wall. The tramp didn't even try covering herself up. I don't know what you mean, she said, looking around the room. I assume for something to help her get out of this. It's her fault she's in this situation. She has no one to blame but herself. I think you do, Helen. How would your fiancé feel knowing what you are planning tonight? Her mouth fell open and a tear rolled down her orange fake tan cheek. How do you know about that? How do you know where I live? She asked and started sobbing. Don't start crying. I hate crying, I screamed at her. She stopped sobbing immediately, but tears continued to fall from her face. I'm sorry, please, Colin, she begged. Enough! I shouted. She flinched at the angry tone in my voice. I hate the crying and the begging. I pulled my knife out and she screamed and tried to run past me. I grabbed her wrist and threw her back, her body slammed into the wall. She gripped her head and cried out in pain. Please, don't do this. Please, please, I'll do anything you want, Colin, please. I clenched my fist hard and slashed the knife across her face. Blood instantly started pouring from the wound, and she held her cheek with her shaking hands, her eyes wide and body shaking with the shock. I stepped forward and plunged the knife into her side. She seemed so loud it left a ringing in my ears, but I felt calm. Soon there would be another one less. Her fiancé and the world will be better off without her, and I was the one to do it. She slumped on the floor, bleeding heavily. Her breathing was fast and shallow. The white carpet was stained with a pool of dark red blood. I stepped back. I didn't want her disgusting blood anywhere near me. "Help me, please," she begged, gasping for breath. She held the wound and started to crawl across the room. I kicked her in the ribs, making her scream and fall to the floor. She coughed up some blood, spitting it out, making me gag. The germs from her saliva were mixing with the germs in her blood. It made me feel sick and dirty. I kicked her side, pushing her over onto her back. She started crying and coughing, trying to catch her breath. I stood over her and looked her down at her face. She was staring at me, pleading with her eyes for me to help her. I was the only one that could help her now.